You can do the clappy clappy.
Clappy clappy.
What is up with that?
I've told you before, that's how you taste the tea.
The Human Torch applied for a bank loan.
I don't know if that's been steeping long enough.
You don't know if that's friggin' what? How many episodes? And you're like tea expert now?
I think so.
I don't know if this tea has been steeping long enough.
Hasn't been sitting
This
quiet.
tea hasn't. Did you not let it rest long enough for me?
Chemical process hasn't considered any other sulfates. None of those words made sense.
You're listening to Articulate with your hosts, Kevin Kramer and Sean Gillespie, your go-to guys for art tips, techniques, and general artist ramblings. Presented by drawingandcoloring.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Articulate, the show where we talk about everything art.
Todos de art.
I'm Kevin Kramer,
I'm Sean Gillespie.
and today we are talking about
Meeting with clients.
meeting with clients.
Something I don't really like to do.
It can be a little nerve-wracking.
You kind of have to, but yeah, it can be, because the problem is that you have to talk about money, and that's the part that I don't like. I don't mind meeting them, like meeting somebody new and talking about art is delightful.
Right.
But meeting somebody new and talking about money, I always feel like I shouldn't be asking for money, or that if I say a price too big, I'm going to lose the gig, and then I'm worried that I'm going to lose it because I really need it desperately.
Right.
But
See,
then I had to
can't go in with that.
Right.
Can't go in with that mindset. Otherwise, you
help
will lose it,
I do, often.
and you won't get charged.
Sometimes I do. And
Yeah.
then actually what happens to me is I'm like, I can do it. This is how I talk to clients.
Is that you?
This is I can do it.
I want them to be like,
Just doing this.
I do this.
It's fidgeting.
yeah.
And I'm like, I can do it for $2,000.
And then they're like, oh, that's a little bit. Oh, 1,000? I said 1,000. Oh, we can do it for 1,000. They're like, well, we were really thinking about 500. How about that?
Ooh, no, you can't do that.
And
Can't
then
do
they're
that.
like, and I'm like, I will do it for you for free.
Just give me the
just give me the wall.
Just give me
and
the
let
credit.
me paint it.
Just give me the
and-
credit.
Right. Just let me. And then they're like, yeah, no, it's a mess.
No. The thing that I found is a quality client will understand the price that you give.
Well, one thing.
And it might still come up in the talks.
Right.
But a quality person that knows what they want, has the money, who is a qualified client basically, they won't bring up or have that much of an issue with a price that's reasonable.
Well, this is what happens to me a lot, actually. This happens a lot. More often than not. I'll give them a price. They don't agree. I'll come down a couple hundred, but still reasonable, and because I really need it. And then I'll go ahead and take the job, and I'll do it. And they see me working 14-hour days for like a week straight, or 2 weeks, however long it takes.
You go for the guilt money?
They see my neck popping and my shoulder hurting, and they see that I've been working like a crazy person.
Right.
And then they go ahead and give me a little lanyard, a little extra. Usually. They'll give me what I originally asked for because they realize, oh, he was asking a fair price. Because a lot of people don't realize what goes into art,
Well, see, that is what you need to...
Make them understand.
Yeah.
But
You
that's
gotta-
hard to do.
You got to build that value up front before you even talk about money.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to establish. How do you do it? Tell us, old wise one.
Well, when you go...
You tell them about your process. First, I'm going to outline.
Basically,
That
educate
will
them.
take about an hour. And then I will fill in the color. That may take several hours.
Or days.
Or days. Then I will wait for the paint to dry. And I will apply.
If you
And
talk
wash.
to anybody like that in a meeting, they will just immediately leave.
Yeah, I think some of our watchers may have just... some of our viewers left. But
yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to establish, it's hard to go into your process with that and have them have any type of visceral understanding of what you're doing without them having done it themselves.
Right. Well,
Now-
that's why you have to educate them on the process so they realize how much goes into it. And another thing is take a time to do it. And kind of, if I learned anything with real estate investing and all that other stuff that I've done, you just have to take your time and draw out the reasons of why they actually want the thing done. Because then once they start telling you why they want them done,
Right.
then they'll go, oh yeah, this is the guy. Right here. He's the one that's gonna paint the mural,
He will lead us to our mural process.
and then you can talk to them and make sure they know how much is involved.
Here's the one. Well, part of the problem, and part of the wonderful thing, it's a double-sided coin here about Austin, is that you have so many artists that it creates a lot of competition, which makes you have to work harder and makes your work better. But the downside is there's so many artists, it creates a lot of competition.
Right.
So if you give them too high of a price,
Right.
they'll get the next guy because they don't understand that, oh, no. You know, they're not looking for a certain style or aesthetic. What happens a lot of times, to me at least, they're like, yeah, we want to hire you to do a mural. Can you do it like Banksy?
Right.
Or, hey,
in
we
another
wanna,
style.
Right, we want to hire you, but we'd really like to see you paint like Shepard Fairey.
Right.
And it's like, dude, if you want to hire the Shano, he's going to paint like the Shano.
Right.
And that's what I tell them. They're like, we don't want the Shano. We want Shepard Fairey. And I'm like, well, you better hire him then.
Right.
And he will be expensive.
Exactly.
Is what I tell them.
We want a
And-
knockoff,
No, I
is
don't
what we
tell them.
want.
Actually, I told them I would try that.
Oh, really?
That's what I told them.
I
And-
don't know.
And then,
we could try it.
And then I kept sending them image, and they're like, that doesn't look like Shepard Fairey. That doesn't look like, that looks like your work. I'm like, what is my work?
Right.
You know, what do you want?
I think you actually showed me something, and it looked exactly like this.
Just like him. And they still were like, no, that's not it. I'm like, ah.
See, that's not an ideal client.
You shouldn't try to change your spots. You're a leopard.
That's not an ideal client.
You're a leopard.
That's the problem.
Don't change your spots.
You're a leopard.
Bite them on the face.
Bite their spots.
No, the person, the client. Because you're a leopard. And you have teeth
so-
that are sharp. And you should bite them.
Why am I biting them?
Because they're trying to give you shit, man.
Just walk away.
And you have spots. And you're a leopard and you can't change them, but you can bite and claw. I don't know, man. This analogy has been lost.
It's a bad client, I think is what that boils down to.
I felt like that was pretty good at first, and then,
It lost its steam.
yeah, a little bit. Like this tea, it lost its steam.
I'm checking out.
All right. So, you get this client there. Yeah, I mean, you do. In part, that's part of having integrity, which I think I just kind of made it sound like I don't have.
You're like, please, give me the money.
Give me the work. But, yeah, well, how do you balance that? Starvation versus integrity. Where's that line?
Well,
Because, you know,
that's a whole nother thing, but
that's a whole nother podcast.
That you
But
gotta-
it does go in with dealing, because you don't want to be desperate with a client.
Exactly.
Because people sense desperation.
Right.
I've recently been doing some online dating. And let me tell you, Kevin,
all negotiations are final.
the ladies sense the desperation. And they are not interested at all.
Well,
So, and clients, much like the ladies on the online dating, will sense it if you have some desperation. So it's important that you be cool. They
Right.
need you. You don't need them. But don't be a jerk about it,
right.
you know? I don't know.
Just make sure you get paid.
It's about balance. Just be nice, be courteous, but be firm, and go in with a number in mind.
It does help. You need to have your own established pricing, or at least some
Right.
kind of range of
Or,
pricing.
with murals...
Because it is inevitable that they will ask.
Exactly. And with murals, you need to have scoped out the place in person.
Right.
Do not let them tell you, oh, it's about 4 feet by 8 feet. Because about 4 feet by 8 feet means that it's
12
like
by 30.
32 feet by, yeah, that's exactly right. And that, I have gotten burned that way more times than I care to admit, because you think I'd learned the first time. You would hope. I didn't learn the first time.
So what is...
Because I'm an idiot.
So the
I'm an idiot.
key idea there is to be over-prepared.
Be over-prepared and have a price mind and have a point system in mind.
A point.
It's driving me nuts. Have a point
system.
Well, yeah, have a point. Like, I am going to ask this much, but I will not go lower than this much. That way you have a set parameter, because if you don't and you get nervous and you're on the spot, you're going to be like, I don't know. If you're like me, maybe you're not. Maybe you're way cooler than I am. You probably
Right.
are, because I'm a nervous Nelly.
No, well, I mean, there was a point. It helps to have somebody.
Yeah.
It helps to have a partner or somebody else that you're working
Yes.
with. Because I was in a meeting the other day. They asked me a question. We were answering. We were both bouncing
Is good.
bouncing them back and forth. But then, for some reason, chose to answer this one question, and I just started rambling about something.
It's easy to do, man. I ramble when I get nervous.
And I had no idea what I was talking. I just shut up.
I do that every day on this show.
I just stopped
Every
talking
Wednesday. Yeah.
and let him go.
Yeah.
And I was like, Okay, now I'll
Right.
pick back to gather my
yeah.
thoughts.
Right. You got to. But
And-
when you're on the spot, and especially, and with negotiating with
And when
clients,
you see those eyes, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And then you just go.
And one thing I've
Cheers.
noticed with clients is that it becomes a game. It's like if you ever watch Comic Book Men or Oddities, where whoever names the price first loses. So what I do a lot of times is like, well, what kind of budget are you working with?
Right.
Like,
There's ways around it.
right. But a lot of
Reframing it.
times they're like, I'm not going to tell you that because they know that if they tell you that, they lose the. And then you're like, just tell me what kind of budget. And
Right.
then I'm like, well, I can do a very simple
Exactly.
picture for $10, or I can do a very complicated picture
Right.
for $400. You know, what do you...
Right.
I mean, there's a big range here, especially with art. It's like, I can draw you a stick person right now for $1.
Exactly.
And it'll be a portrait of you if you want it. It's going to look like a damn stick person.
Right. Well,
But
we'll
you're
call it
pretty
you.
thin.
We'll call it you.
Yeah, we'll call it you. It's
Right.
the Kevin. I'm going to write Kevin next to it, and I will charge you $1. Or I could sit here and do an oil painting of you, and it could take months, and it could be...
$40,000.
I never ever gotten paid that. But if that ever happens, I will let you guys know. I will tell it to the mountain.
But that is, again, you have to have some kind of pricing.
Yeah, and
You
have
have
it
to
in
have
mind
something.
before you go in there.
Right.
That's
you
my
need
point.
to know what you're worth and
And
what your time is worth.
Dress nice. Don't dress like the Shano is today with your flannel shirt going in like, man, I don't give a shit.
No, don't do that.
Don't
at
do
all.
that.
Dress appropriate.
Go in like-
Business casual.
Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. I feel like that's a saying. No, I like to go
it
in.
is.
I like to go in and meet with clients really nicely dressed because
Not
that's
like a suit.
No, I almost
three-piece suit with a-
almost because that's the last time they're gonna see me when I'm not covered in paint. From then on,
Go in a tuxedo.
until I pick up my paycheck, I'm gonna be covered in paint, and they're gonna think I'm a hobo for a long time. Hobo's probably not the proper nomenclature. My apologies to any home lacking individuals,
Bows.
home street persons. I think
Street persons?
street persons is the politically correct
that
term
right?
for those homeless bastards. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so my point though is like I know that they're gonna see me, and I want them to respect me, right? And I don't want them to think that I'm always dressed slovenly.
Right.
And
You want to
all
have
this.
a nice image up front.
Right. So establish that up front, and then they're gonna forget about it while you're working on it. And then the last day when you go to pick up your check or your last payment, go back in dressed all nice, and they're like, "Who is this person that I haven't seen in months or weeks?"
Why am I giving him money?
Right. I'm giving him money because he looks like that. Because he's got to pay for them alligator shoes.
Right. And you do have alligator
I do.
shoes.
Not today, but
I actually have some. I'm not going to say it because I think it might be endangered.
you monster.
They're like ostrich skin.
Ostrich aren't endangered.
They're not good. They
Ostriches
don't
are
kill
everywhere.
Ostriches. They're like nice.
They farm ostriches.
Well, I bought them vintage, so I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Ostrich is okay. I thought you were gonna say like
I
you
didn't
had.
do anything.
Well, right. I thought you were gonna say you had like elephant skin or something.
God, no.
Yeah, that's.
But that's besides the meeting.
Okay. I'm just saying. Well, actually, though, it brings up a good point. If you're meeting at a. Well, no, I mean, it's a good point. Like,
What
if you,
does that bring up?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. If you're doing a mural or you're meeting with a client or you're getting hired to do a painting and say it's for a activist group or a vegetarian group, don't go in wearing a bunch of leather.
Right.
You know.
Be mindful.
Yeah. Be mindful of your audience.
Right.
And be respectful of your client.
Right.
Give respect, and hopefully you'll get respect. Doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you gotta slap a bitch.
So what did we learn today? First, you have to build the value in the customer's eyes.
Yeah.
Then you have to have some pricing in your head before you even go. Be over-prepared.
I've never slapped a client.
You should not slap a bitch.
Yeah, for the record, I have never slapped a bitch. Ever in my life.
So over-prepared. Build the value up first. Talk about, educate them.
Right.
About what your process is.
Establish your self-credibility.
Why it is.
In your dress and your demeanor.
Right.
Be
then,
confident.
Third was to
what you really should do is sign up for some online dating for a week,
Yeah.
and you will learn all the
All your
skills,
negotiating
all
skills
the
you need.
negotiating skills, because that's basically what that is you have to establish your value.
Mm-hmm.
You have to write a persuasive essay letting them know why they should go out with you.
Exactly.
You have to dress nice in all the pictures. You have to
you go.
be professional. You have to sometimes talk about pricing if it's that kind of dating site. I mean,
Well, there you go.
there you go. But yeah,
The whole
but have a plan up
negotiating
front.
in a package according to the Shawno
It's a crash course on it. It
crash
really is.
course coming soon. Check out the website.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are pretty much
a
the
good
key
starting
points
points.
that you need to have in place whenever you go in. Being over prepared in general for any meeting is always going to be better than
Right.
and then shortchanging yourself with some bad price.
And bring your portfolio. For crying out loud, a lot of artists show up and then they've forgotten their portfolio, or they didn't bring it because they assumed the client already had it because they called them to begin with. But
Right.
that person might have just gotten your name from a book, so you need to bring it, whether it's on an iPad, preferably not your iPhone. That's really unprofessional. But if you
right.
have an iPad, that's a little different. It's a little bigger, and you can
Right.
show up. There are actually portfolio apps that you can get that just have it right there, so you could scroll through showing a client. You know, that's basically you're giving them a little PowerPoint presentation right there at the table.
Exactly.
So be prepared.
Yeah.
Be prepared. Be prepared. I feel like that's a song.
It's
Little Mermaid.
no,
Maybe.
that's something.
It's something.
Not.
It's not Little
not
Mermaid.
That. I know. It's something Disney.
Be prepared.
Oh, it's
Lion King.
no.
No.
The
Prepared
Beast.
for the
Beast.
chance of
Beauty
a
and the
lifetime.
Beast.
Oh, it is Beauty and the Beast.
Boom.
That's right. I think
All
I
right.
got two songs mixed up though, because
Yeah,
there's also
you
the
did.
Be prepared for the chance of a lifetime. That's Lion King.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Prepared for a wondrous thrill. A shiny new era is tiptoeing nearer. Man, this podcast is about to get sued.
All right. Well, I think we'll end it there. And the question is, what is one of the
What are your tricks of the trade? What are your Jedi mind tricks?
yeah?
Now we're
Or
getting sued
did
by
you
George
have
Lucas, too.
or did you have a meeting that went horrible, and you
Yeah, tell us. I've had some bad meetings.
did you just have a blank and then just fall to the ground like
Yeah.
I almost did the other day?
Really?
No.
Oh,
I mean, I went blank and
Yeah.
I got a little weird.
it got real.
Got a little weird for a second, but I came back.
Yeah.
Have you had any of those? Let us
Tell
know
us
in the
about that.
comments.
Tell us about your worst and best experience.
Right.
Tell us something. Do we ever get any mail?
And well.
Write us.
And as always, head over to articulatepodcast.com, leave us a comment, hit that subscribe button right there. Not point
Where
down.
is it?
Over here.
It's over here?
Right there.
It's right there.
Straight there.
Right there.
And
Subscribe
keep
right
up with us
there.
on iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, all those great places. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.
You've been listening to Articulate with Kevin and Sean. Subscribe on iTunes or check them out on drawingandcoloring.com. Always reminding you to keep it simple.